What's going on, everyone? This is going to be a long one. Cat's already meowing. This is going to be a long one. I'm actually going to go through all of my retro gaming collection in detail. So it's about 1,000 games. I'm going to skip over the real basic generic ones that either people aren't really huge fans of or ones that people aren't really going to care about. But I'm going to go through the ones that I have, the ones I have memories of, parts of my childhood, and we're just going to kind of play it by ear. So we'll go through the man cave here. Zoom. One thing before we go through these games I'm going to show you guys is that I have hung up a few more posters. My goal is to cover all through here, and then I'll stop right where that corner is, and I'll put more like of my college degrees and stuff. And then, what is your problem? She's got food and water. I don't like starve her or nothing. But I'm going to go through here. There's a giant spider right there. Oh, I'm going to take care of him in a minute. I'm going to put more posters through here, and then I'm going to skip this part. And I'm going to go to the spare bedroom of the man cave. Turn the light on here. And then I'm going to go through all these walls here. All of them. I need to add some trim down in there, but that is the goal. So appreciate you guys helping basically pay for those posters. I'm going to get some more here probably after the holidays. I'm buying them probably in batches of 5, and eventually I will have this man cave completed. So if you have OCD, I deeply apologize. You are going to be seeing a lot of games not in order. You're going to be seeing games that are mixed, that aren't even in the same generation. But I'm just going to go through, we'll go from top to bottom. There's 3 shelves, including the fireplace here. So up here is probably my smallest thing here. I have 2 Nintendo Switch games, which are Octopath Traveler and Breath of the Wild. I typically only use the Nintendo Switch when it comes to travel. If I am going to be gone for a couple days, I mean, I can't really play Final Fantasy. I can't really play anything that's I can dedicate a lot of time to, because you know you're going to be busy with family and you can't just ignore them. So there's that. I have an old Pokédex here from the 90s. I think it's like 1996, 1995, and from Generation 1, of course. I have a Nintendo SP here, which is from my childhood. This is my original SP. You can see it's all scratched up, dinged up. Doesn't look very good. And I have a game in here. Which one is it? Oh, Golden Sun. Nice. So yeah, there is that. I think it still works. I haven't tried to use it in a long time. Up here I have a boxed Sega Genesis and a boxed regular NES. I bought one of these. I think it was the top one at like a thrift style store. This one I bought online. And at the time when I bought a lot of my retro gaming stuff, I bought it right before it became really popular, like just barely. I know it was a hobby for many years for people before it became kind of expensive. And I got really lucky with some of these, and I'll get into more detail of that as we go, because like getting an original NES in the box is a couple $100 now, whereas I think when I bought it, it was 40. So I'm really lucky with some of these, and some of them are kind of screwed up, because if you just want to own the game and play it, but you want to play on the original hardware, I mean, it's going to cost a lot. Resident Evil Original with the director's cut, and I'm using one hand here since this is a cell phone video, but that has the manual, and if I can pop her open, it has the original demo disc for Resident Evil 2, and if you play that, you'll see the differences between that game and the final release. Really cool if you're a huge original Resident Evil 2 fan. Another PS1 game here we have Kadelka, which is a mix between like Final Fantasy Tactics and like a gothic. I mean, it's basically a really gothic Final Fantasy Tactics game. If you're into dark Final Fantasy stuff, it's really cool. Highly recommend. Lunar Silver Star Story. I bought this one along with its counterpart, the second one here, at once, and I bought it probably around 2011, and it started to get a little expensive, but I never even heard of it until I bought it, saw it online, and tried it. And I like to play games blind. It's something that it's something I just can't get rid of. I could look it up and avoid a bad buy, but I still like that gamble aspect that a lot of us were used to when we were kids. So bought both of those. Really good games, completed both of them. My really junked up copy of Final Fantasy VIII, which I'm not a huge Final Fantasy VIII fan. It's probably my least favorite of all the classics. I mean, it's still not terrible. It has its moments, but I'm not a huge fan of it, unfortunately. I'm not going to pick that one up. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Final Fantasy Anthology, which is Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Xenogears, I bought that at a thrift shop for about $15, and I'm so glad I did because that game is stupid pricey now, and I don't think I've technically beat it. I got to the very last boss, and I can never beat it, so maybe one day I'll try to complete that. Final Fantasy 9, one of my favorite originals. We have Chrono Cross. That game is still, I think, pretty cheap. I bought it dirt cheap back in probably 2010. I mean, you can still probably get it, I would imagine, for under 30, but I think at the time I bought it for 10. Metal Gear Solid down here. This one is probably going to annoy. Looking for... There it is. Looking for my bottle of water, or my glass of water, so I'm going to need it. Metal Gear Solid, I own it. I bought it pretty cheap. I've had it for years. I have never played it. There's about 1,000 video games here, so I mean, we're going to come across that I've never played. One day I'll try to get to it, but I've never played Metal Gear Solid. And Star Wars, I have a lot of Star Wars games too. I've never played any Star Wars games. Suikoden 1 and 2. If you are a huge JRPG fan, you definitely want to pick these up. If you want to play, I would say both of them now. I would play them digitally, play them on like an emulator or whatnot, because especially the second one is just stupid expensive. I think it's like around $200 now or even more. It's not worth it to me to have to pay that much. I paid less than that, but still, I think even back then I thought it was too expensive. I think I bought both of them for about $100, and that was still too much to me. RPG Maker, I've yet to use it yet. Another release of Resident Evil 2, which was before the director's cut, I believe. Legend of Dragoon, which is in really bad shape, but I do have all the discs, and I have played it, and I do enjoy it. Don't know what this one is. I think it's 7. Yeah, it's a bad copy of Final Fantasy 7. Tekken, I have all three Tekken games, never played any of them. Move my cactus scratcher here, which is a fancy back scratcher thing. Star Ocean, the second story. The second one's alright. The third one on PS2 is a lot better in my opinion, but it's still a good game. Legend of Mana, I was kind of disappointed in that one. Parasite Eve down here without the case because I'm a dip and forgot to grab it when the guy sold it to me. Parasite Eve 2, both of these I highly recommend, especially the first one. If you've never played them, I mean, I'd be actually shocked. I imagine most people have, especially if you're in Zen Garden. And all the original Grand Theft Autos that are the top-down ones. Fun to play. I wouldn't say they're as fun to play as the ones, after like PS2 and whatnot, but still fun to play if you never played them before. Final Fantasy Chronicles, which is Final Fantasy 4 and Chrono Trigger. Another copy of Anthology, which I think has like Mission Impossible inside of it. And then Lunar 2. Well, I think that would be one to wrap up on. Lunar 2. I played it directly after the first one since I bought them both at the same time. Pretty fun game. It's got some... I mean, it looks like it's just a really nice Super Nintendo game, graphics-wise, but it's got like the classic 90s kind of cruddy voice acting, and it's a great game to play. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. And here's the booklets for it. This, I don't know what the hell this is. Some little thing that comes with it. Oh, it's got like a medallion and some stickers and stuff with it. So that's shelf 1. That's mostly PlayStation 1 games. We move down here. I'm going to pull a chair out so I don't kill my knees. So we have Xbox original games here, it looks like. There's not too many I'm going to point out because I haven't played probably 90% of them. I bought all of these from, I believe it was a Blockbuster that was closing down back in, I want to say 2009, 2010. And I bought all of these for about, it was 100 games for $100. So $1 a game, and most of them, I mean, are probably worth $1. But there are some good ones in here. There's the original Fable in here, the original Halo. And there is, I think, Futurama's in here. And this game is stupid expensive, and the only reason why is because if you beat the game, it has an episode you can watch that is not aired on TV. So I'm sure you can find it online now, but originally you could not watch it otherwise. I have Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind for all that's worth. I've played it, and the controllers are so bad on the Xbox version. They're so broken. And I need to get the PC version and give it an honest play. I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan. and I've played thousands of hours of Oblivion and hundreds of hours of Skyrim, and I really need to give Morrowind another chance. So, but there's also like Black's on here, Call of Duty. I said one, and I think oh yeah, a couple. There's a bunch of war games, shooting games, Indiana Jones, 007 games, etc. We'll go down here to the Xbox 360. There's also some regular regular Xbox games like NBA Jam up here. Also, Kingdom Under Fire. We're actually, I never hear people talk about the Kingdom Under Fire games, and they're really, really good. This one I barely got into because I didn't really have time. I got into this game and something else came out and I got distracted. I need to give it an honest chance, but we'll get to the original PC version for Kingdom Under Fire War of Heroes. If you've never played that game, it is incredible, and it has terrible reviews for some reason. Like I think it's got like a 5 out of 10. But we'll go into some 360 titles here. Stick of Truth. I mean, self-explanatory. Short game, really good game though. I mean, it's a hilarious game as well. Pretty challenging too at some point. Resident Evil 5. I actually really like Resident Evil 5. I know that most people don't, but it's still got a little bit of classic horror in it, and it still has certain aspects of the originals, like you can't walk and shoot and stuff. And although Chris Redfield was like super ripped and punching boulders and stuff, that was kind of strange. But other than that, I mean, it's a decent game. Another one, Lost Odyssey. This is probably my best / favorite game on the system. It's 4 discs. It's super long. It is classic RPG. It's a lot like it plays a lot like Final Fantasy X. Random encounters, turn-based. You can see the order of the people who's going to attack next or act next or whatever. And I'm not going to spoil anything about it. I mean, it's an old game, but you have certain characters that are immortals too. So if they die in battle and the rest of your party's alive, after so many turns, they automatically revive themselves. Really cool. BioShock Infinite, Dark Souls. I've played like maybe 10 minutes of Dark Souls. I think I did the first boss and was able to beat it, and then I quit playing. The Darkness is a really weird-ass game where you have like these weird snake things that come out of your body and you shoot. It's a first-person shooter, and I think I beat it within a few hours. Just an odd game. BioShock Infinite. I have never beaten this one. I picked it up for how much? $13 at the time, and I played it a little bit because I played the other BioShock games, which I'm a fan of. My brother's a really big fan of them, and I just never got into it. I have a really bad copy of GTA 5 apparently. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I used to play that in college with my old roommate, and that was a fun game. Kingdom of Alamar Reckoning. I've heard good things about it. I've never played it. You're going to hear that a lot from me today. I've heard good things. I own it, but I've never played it. We have Fallout New Vegas, which is my favorite Fallout game just because how dark it is, how crazy it is. You're dealing with, people who are basically like cults, and you're murdering innocent people. I mean, you can be the worst pile of crap of a human being, or you can be a saint. It's such a cool experience. Original Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition. GTA 4, Resident Evil 6. A lot of people hate Resident Evil 6 2 more than 5, and I would agree with you. I can't even get it out. Fuck it. I would agree with you to an extent besides Leon's story. Leon's story is actually one of my favorite Resident Evil scenarios to play. When it comes to Chris's part of it, I think it's like Chris and Pierce. I think it's the other guy's name. And between Sherry and Adam Wesker's kid, those two scenarios do kind of suck. I do agree on that. But the Leon storyline is really good. So if you haven't owned or played Resident Evil 6, I would at least play that part. Original Final Fantasy 11 expansion packs for the Xbox 360. You'll see a couple of copies of those because I used to run it on 2 different Xboxes for dual boxing and paying, double the subscription, of course. Assassin's Creed, I have a couple of those. I've never played them. The BioShock Elder Scrolls 4 combination, really good game to pick up if you want something cheap and you want to play a couple of classics. Man, I can't get these out. Come on, there we go. It's very cheap, and it doesn't even have the price on it, it looks like, when I bought it. But you can pick it up damn cheap and play both of those classics. We have Resident Evil Revelations. I bought that for $10 at the time, it looks like. It's an okay game. I would say it's still not as good as the classics, but it definitely starts to go in the direction where Resident Evil needs to be and not run and gun. So I do like it. I just don't like it as much as the originals. GTA 5, Lollipop Chainsaw, which is a stupid game. Dante's Inferno, I never played it. Minecraft, I like to play that when I am either drinking or bored. Gears of War, $5. It's $5 for a reason. It's all right. Game of Thrones, terrible game. My other Secrets of Alduin pack. The Witcher 2, really good game if you're into the Witcher series. I have the third one on Xbox One, never played it. We'll get to that later. Devil May Cry HD Edition. I do like the originals on PS2. I've never played the HD edition. I don't even know how I got it. And let's see, original Black Ops on 360. Didn't know I had that. I'm going to learn all kinds of stuff today. Mafia 2, really cool if you like classic gangster stuff. This one, I don't know what it is, and I'm probably not even going to bother to figure it out. Oh, it's Harry Potter. Okay, then. Yeah, that's how you know I care that much about it. BioShock 2, pretty good game. Borderlands is alright. I don't like, I know a lot of people like the comic booky graphics, and I get the point of it, but it's just not for me. Sleeping Dogs is pretty cool. It's like a Grand Theft Auto, except you're like martial artists and stuff. It's kind of hard to explain, but a really cool game. Walking Dead Telltale series, I love all those games. Very amazing. I just wish there was more of them, and I wish they were longer and not so damn short. Call of Duty Ghosts, I got it for free in some type of deal, and some of these are also donations. People who know I collect, they would just have spare games that they don't play anymore. They just give them to me, and Ghost was one of those. And there's probably about 30 or 40 of those games in this collection that have been donated. And I started collecting probably around 2000. I would say around 2011. Yeah, that's a safe bet. 2011, the summer of 2011, I had maybe about 20 games that I owned, and most of them were PlayStation 2. I wanted to start recollecting my childhood games, and I slowly got together. First, I got a Super Nintendo. I started getting Illusion of Gaia and different loose cart games I could come across at garage sales and whatnot. Then I got an NES, and then it just kind of slowly blew up. And then when I got my first job out of college, I didn't have really a whole lot of responsibilities. I had a cheap rental that was like $600 a month, 2-bedroom house, and the rest of my checks I basically could do whatever I wanted. And I took that opportunity over the next 2-3 years to greatly blow up my collection. And I just now in the past couple of months started buying retro games again, and I haven't, before last month, I haven't bought any retro games since 2017, so it's been 3 years. So I'm just now starting to get back into it. Anyway, Left 4 Dead, decent game. Skyrim, classic. Dead Island's alright. You have to be in the right mood for it. Oblivion, one of the best games of all time to me. Not a huge fan of the Rock Band, Guitar Hero games. They're okay, but I mean, you have to be with friends, and you have to. It's not a fun game to play by yourself. Which I have friends over occasionally to play it, but I mean, they're either stoner friends or just. It just didn't feel right. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe it's the problem's me. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, really good game. Off stories from GTA 4, Fable 2, Hitman. That was $5, and that was actually a really good game. Final Fantasy 11, the collection, which if you were trying to get back into the game at the time, that was a good seller because it had all the expansions on it, and you can just pop it in and pick up where you left off after being gone for however many years. And then Red Dead Redemption and Fable 3. Not going to name every title that I see, but I'll name ones that I care about or ones that I'm familiar with. Star Ocean, The Last Hope, is a decent game. I just saw that. It's a decent game, but it's not as good as the third one, I would say. But it's got the standard battle story style of how that a Star Ocean is. If you've ever played any Star Ocean games, you know what I'm talking about. Trying to go as fast as I can while still giving plenty of detail here. I'm trying to keep this video under an hour. Alright, put this crap out of the way. Next, we have mainly PS2 games. Oh, my knees. We have Final Fantasy X, Xenosaga. I only have the first Xenosaga. I got it for $10 at some place called Barter Joe's down in southeast Kansas. And it's very cinematic. You're going to be watching cutscenes a lot more than you're playing the game, but it's still fun. Maximo, really hard game. It's like an action RPG. I'm actually using this stack of PS2 games to help support the shelf here. SmackDown vs. Raw, if you're a wrestling fan, that's a pretty good game. Guitar Hero 2, Jak 3, Jak 2 and 3, Red Faction. Unlimited Saga is a terrible game. Final Fantasy X 2, Jak 2. Again, I have a couple multiple copies. I'm a huge fan of the original Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank games. Mega Man Collection, really good if you like the original Mega Man games. Resident Evil 4. I'm not a huge fan of Resident Evil 4. It's okay. I like the first three a lot better. This is when it really started to become actiony, and I started to not really get into it. And I played it and I beat it, but I was never like amped the whole time I was playing it. There was moments, but I just wasn't a fan, man. Sorry to disappoint any Resident Evil 4 fans. Silent Hill 2, I'm still trying to get the first one. I think that's one of the next buys I'm going to do since I finally got back into the hobby. The first Jak and Daxter, which has a bunch of tape damage to it. Star Ocean 3, this is by far the best one. I would take it out if I can, but this thing is being supported, but I'll let it stick out a little bit here. It's got all sorts of damage to it because it's so old and I played it so much. But yeah, Star Ocean till the end of the time. Really long game too, and it's just so good, man. I can't explain it any other way. Resident Evil, Final Fantasy XI Treasures expansion for PS2. I originally played Final Fantasy XI on the PS2 on dial-up. It's amazing how well that game played on such an old system and on dial-up. Resident Evil Outbreak, I've never played it. I know Shikishima and some other people are really big into it. I need to give it a chance. Dragon Quest VIII, not a huge Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest fan, honestly, but the 8th one is really good, and most people say the 8th one's the best one. So that's what I started with, and I agree. I beat it. It's a fun game. Let's see here. GTA San Andreas, all the original Grand Theft Autos are down there. Ooh, the very first Ratchet and Clank. Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. This was kind of a disappointment. I picked it up for $15, and if it was $5, I still would have been kind of disappointed in it. I picked that up again at Barter Joe's in Southeast Kansas, and yeah, I played that one blind, and that's one of the few times where it bit me in the ass. So I will never regret playing blind, though. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, Final Fantasy XI Online Wings of the Goddess expansion, GTA 3, Final Fantasy 12 Collector's Edition. This is the one where it came in like the tin case, metal case, whatever you want to call it. I think I got about halfway and then I quit playing it. It kind of got hard for me to get into. If I gave it another chance and did a fresh start on it, I think I could probably complete it. But it's not terrible, it's just not my favorite. Let's see, some sports games down there, Vice City's down there, the original Devil May Cry. Got some manga books down here just for like space fillers. Down here, we have Dirge of Cerberus. I don't remember where I picked that up, but I've never played it. Sorry to say, I'm sure it's a great game, but I'll maybe one day get to it. Let's see here, anything else? Suikoden 3. Since I played the first two, I saw this and it was like super cheap. And I selected my character, started playing, and I stopped. It was a letdown. It seemed got like some terrible stain on it. But I picked it up and I try to play things in linear order, and I've heard of some other Suikoden games down the line that are a lot better and just as good, if not better, as the first two. And I just haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, the third one was a bummer. Top of these are really dusty. Bully, this is probably my brother's favorite game of all time. I don't know why. I mean, I've beaten it, played it completely. It does have a Grand Theft Auto-y feel if it was run by a frat house, I guess is one way to put it. But it's a fun game. I'll give you that. But the best of all time, definitely not to me. I'm being really critical. Usually I'm very positive, but I'm being really critical on these for some reason today. Harry Potter's RTV shit. Kingdom Hearts. This is the second one. I've never played the first one, and I played it a little bit. Don't remember anything about it. I'll have to give it another try. I'm not a Disney fan, so it's kind of hard for me to get into it. I just like the Final Fantasy aspect of it. Ratchet Deadlocked, great game. Code Veronica X for the PS2, my original version. I think I got this back in, 2005? When was this released? 2002, so I probably got it a year or so after it was released. And I think that'll do for the PS2. And then there's the last Jak game, the racing game. I'm not a racing game fan either. The only reason I bought it because it was Jak and Daxter, and it is a letdown, and that's probably why they quit making the games, unfortunately. Anyway, 24 minutes in, that's shelf 1. Moving over. Woo! Hope you guys are having fun. And hopefully you guys comment on certain games that you have that, if you have any recommendations, please let me know to add to my collection. There may be games I've never heard of. They may be games that I have heard of but never really understood or gave a chance. If you hear little pauses, it's just me getting sips of water so I don't die out. So we're going to stand back up here. This is my favorite PC game, Kingdom Under Fire or War of Heroes. Classic, kind of build your army of medieval knights and archers and whatnot, and attack the bad guy. And then you can like play the bad guy too and try to take down the good guys, which is awesome. Some plush Luigi here, a can of Mario Campbell's. Monopoly Gamer Edition. I don't know what is in here. Oh, it's got like little figurines. I'm not a Monopoly fan, but someone I think gave that to me as a display piece. We have original Super Nintendo in the box. I got this. I want to say I got it online. It's not in the greatest shape. You can see some tears in it. But I bought it for about, I think, 20, 30 bucks at the time. And it was definitely worth it for me for a display piece. Atari 2600. I got this really cheap somewhere because no one cares about Atari. So most Atari, everything is cheap. And speaking of Atari, we have loose cart Atari games here. Each of these games is maybe $1, $2, $3. So if you grew up with Atari and you really want Atari games and you want to play the original, go for it. They are dirt cheap. The only expensive ones that you can think of would be maybe the original Mario Brothers. Kaboom is kind of expensive, but other than that, not really. We'll move these little potions over. What's this? Oh, it's a Dragon Ball Z disc for some reason sitting there. This thing is so dusty. You can tell I've neglected this thing. But anyway, we have Asteroids. We have a couple of copies of Asteroids. And you can see the pricing on some of these, 95 cents. Space Invaders, Fishing Derby, Basketball, Super Breakout. That's a fun game if you like breakout style games. Golf, Air and Sea, another breakout game, Laser Blast Combat, Pitfall, Stampede, Popeye. I haven't played Popeye. I don't know what it's like, but I'm sure it's a disappointment. Video Pinball, Freeway, the original Donkey Kong, Boxing. I do have a copy of E.T. for some reason. I don't know why. Original Ghostbusters, Chopper Command, Dark Cavern, Skyjinx, Pac-Man. I think I already said Pac-Man once. 2 copies of Tennis for some reason. Combo Commando Raid. Another copy of Space Invaders. Kaboom, that's a nice one. Mousetrap's pretty decent. Lock and Chase, Ice Hockey, Bugs, Dreams Escape, Pele Soccer, another copy of Donkey Kong. Bowling, another copy of Tennis. I have 3. I think I have 2 copies of Frogger too. I think this one's Frogger, and this one's Frogger. So yeah, I might, again, some of these are donations, and they may not know, or I may not know at the time that I have 2 of them. And once I find that, I typically do just donate them to somebody else or give them away. And then we have some last ones here. We have Space Attack, Soccer, Armor, Ambush, Astro Blast, a couple of copies of Astro Blast. Frogs and Flies, that's a really good game. Baseball, and that's pretty much all the Atari. I don't have any boxed Atari games. We'll sit back down here, and we will go through more modern games here. PS4, Xbox One, and PS3. I have a lot less of these. So from left to right, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake, RE2, RE3, Final Fantasy 15, Ratchet & Clank Remake, Destiny, that was a donation, thank you. Fallout 4, Minecraft, that was a donation as well, thank you. The Walking Dead, which one is this? Season 2. And then we have GTA 5, South Park The Fractured But Whole, Elder Scrolls 5, Batman Arkham, and Uncharted were both donations, so I've never played those. Resident Evil 7, amazing game. I know some people that hate this game with a damn passion. Some people I work with at my job hate this game, and I think it's one of the best ones I've ever played since the second one. And I think what would have made it a 10 out of 10 is if they got rid of the mold monsters and just made the people in that area, the mansion, whatever you want to call it, they made them original zombies. They made like the camera crew that shows up in the beginning, they made them into original zombies. I like the original crap. I don't really like the mold stuff. I give them all the credit in the world for, adding something new, but and I've seen it in previous games, but, adding something new and trying to run with it. But you just can't beat the original, man. You just can't. Final Fantasy X Remake. That's kind of a cash grab game, but it's still fun. I like the graphical changes, and I think they did add a couple of little things, but I did a run through of each one, and you can do New Game Plus on both, I believe. So that's a bonus. Heaven Sword, Black Ops 3, which was also a donation by someone I used to work with back in Nebraska. Resident Evil Revelations 2, Mortal Kombat X. This was a donation, and I never even opened it. One day, I'll give it justice. Black Ops 3 as well on the Xbox One. I don't recall if that was donated. I try to keep a track of all the stuff people give me. Gears of War Ultimate Edition, The Witcher 3. I haven't played it yet. I've heard good things. Tomb Raider, that was definitely a donation. It's still sealed. I need to give that a chance too. And apparently it's the best Tomb Raider game ever made, supposedly. That's talking big for the N64 originals, but supposedly it's an incredible game. Gears of War 4, did I even open it? Yeah, I did. Gears of War 4, Elder Scrolls Online. I played it for a few minutes and I kind of gave up. I need to give it another chance just because I love the series. Fallout 4, PS3 now. We're going to another copy of GTA 5. I have GTA 5 on like 3 separate systems. Don't know what the hell that is. Some PS3 attachment or something called Play Beyond. Guitar Hero 3, the original Black Ops. I do like this game. I love the original Black Ops. Just reminds me of college. Assassin's Creed Revelations. Never played it. Sports games, Rock Band, Need for Speed. All of these were in a bundle that I bought for a couple bucks each. Now we're going to get into my childhood here. This ought to be a little bit more fun for me. So, here we go. Donkey Kong Country Original. This is a second copy. I need to give this away to somebody. I've tried to give away to my brother, but he already has a copy. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. If you have never played a Final Fantasy game and you want like an easy, impossible to die chance at getting into the series, I would recommend Mystic Quest. I think it's better than a lot of people give it a... People give it a bad rep, but I don't think it's that bad. Is it good? No, not gonna lie. Is it terrible? No. I mean, it's different. You can use your weapon outside of the battle system for separate things, and it's different. The original Mortal Kombat right here. Basketball game Clue, which Clue's actually not bad on the Super Nintendo, believe it or not. And we'll move these out of the way a little bit here so we can look at other stuff. Illusion of Gaia, my very first Super Nintendo game I ever played was this. And I picked up a boxed copy super cheap. And you can still get this game today super cheap. If you own a Super Nintendo or you've thought about getting into retro gaming and you love action RPGs, you got to get this one, man. I know it's pretty popular, so I imagine most people have played it or have at least attempted to. But and it could just be nostalgia talking, but that's by far my favorite action RPG on a 16-bit system. I got a sealed copy of Pool for some reason. But yeah, so I got that. Super Punch-Out! I got this at a garage sale for $1. I got really lucky. And this was back in my college days. Some older lady was giving away, I think it was either her son's stuff or her husband's stuff. And I didn't ask if like the husband passed away or anything because she was pretty up there. But she had a bin of about 20 Super Nintendo games, and she wanted $20 for all of them. And I'm going to tell you which ones I got. And if you're a Super Nintendo collector, you're going to be, I'm hoping, honestly, just a little jelly. I mean, this is the only time I'll ever get to brag that I had a good deal on something, because usually I get burned. But I'm going to go through, I'll mention each one that I got at that garage sale. This is the first one. Out to Lunch is a game that I found in somebody's yard when I used to work collections. It was laying in a bunch of dirt. This little corner was sticking out of the ground. That was all that was visible. And I dug it out with my hands, pulled it out. It was all muddied up and terrible looking. I didn't even know what the game was. All I could see was the letter NCH. So I had no idea what it was when I pulled it out. So I cleaned it up. You can still see a little bit of dirt grime in the cartridge there. And of course it's a worthless game, but it was a free game. Technically, I found it in somebody's yard. They didn't want it, apparently. Batman Forever, Breath of Fire. Not a bad game. If you give it an honest chance, the Breath of Fire games on the Super Nintendo are really good. I only have the first one, but I do plan on getting the second one on the same system. Super Mario All-Stars Classic. If you want to play a bunch of the Mario games at the same time. Golf, Madden, Home Alone. So, none of those are too exciting for me. I probably got those in like bundles. Let's see here. Time Slip. This isn't too bad. I think this was like a popular... And if it goes out of camera for a second, I'm just rearranging it so I can hold it better so it's not like this, you know. Time Slip. I think I played that in the arcade, and I picked up this copy, and this is a really good copy. I mean, the box is in really good shape. I have all these little plastic shells keeping the dust off of them. I think I picked it up for $10 with the kit, with the manual and the box. Nice. Secret of Mana. I accidentally crushed it when I bought it, but I bought this copy for about $40, and I really enjoy it. I haven't gotten very far in the game. I am enjoying it. I would say the only thing I don't really like about it, if I wanted to, crap on your nostalgic game, is the characters, when you're playing, sometimes get stuck on the side of the screen and you can't progress. And I know that's not a big deal for some people, but when you're trying to fight a boss and you can't move, sometimes that's an issue. But it's cool that you can play with other people, and it's cool that you can play with 4 with the adapter, like it says right down there. And it's a fun game, and it's classic for sure. Even though I haven't given it its due yet, but it's a very good game. Family Feud, and I will play Secret of Mana again. I plan on it. Got a manual for Final Fantasy 2. The Ease game. Ease, what is this, 3? Copy of Ease 3. I picked this up, I think, at a retro gaming store pretty cheap. And I'm not a huge Ease fan either. Sorry. It's all right. I only have played the third one, so maybe like Ease 1 and 2, if I played that, I would really get into it and like it a lot better. Final Fantasy 2, also known as Final Fantasy 4. This is my original copy, and it's in pretty good shape. And I really like this game. I played it originally on the PS1 with that Anthology set or Chronicles set, whatever it was that came with Chrono Trigger. Baseball Simulator. Ugh. This is tricky with one hand. Ugh. The Page Master, which I actually rented this from a video store when I was a kid. That's the only reason why I bought a copy. I think this was also about $10 with the manual in the box. Oh, it says it. Is that it right there? No, it didn't say. But yeah, it's not good, but it's not bad either. I bought it mainly for nostalgic reasons. Castlevania 4, really, really good game. Nice and challenging. I bought this really cheap too, actually. About $30 at the time, and this is one of those games that's too expensive. If you want to play it on a emulator. I think it's like $80 to $100 now. That's just too much, man. If you're getting the box with it. But yeah, let that focus a little bit. Yeah, Castlevania 4, incredible game. Move these to the side here. Nothing too exciting here. We got Caesar's Palace, Battle Clash, which is a Super Scope game. I take it back. Smash TV, a really good game. This is the Super Smash version, of course, but the original Smash TV on the NES is also good. Donkey Kong Country 2. This was another one of the games I got that was the dollar in the dollar bin at that garage sale. Really lucky there. And we have Monopoly, Jeopardy. Got a couple up here, too, that you might not be able to see so well. Looks like we got Lion King and Super Mario Kart. This was another dollar game. Then we have Super Mario World, not in the greatest condition, but pretty hard to find in the original box. I found this, I want to say, around 2014. I found this online. Somebody was selling, and they were selling it pretty cheap. I don't know how much it was, but it wasn't much more than the cartridge. So I thought that was definitely worth it at the time. I haven't looked up if it's raised in price or anything. I never plan on selling these. The only reason I talk about price when it comes to these mainly is because I like to get across how ridiculous it is if you're just wanting to own it and have it. I never plan on selling these. If I do, it'll probably be passed down or it'll go to my brother or something. But I just think it's crazy. If you just want to own the game and have fun and play it and own your childhood again, you got to pay out the ass for, to have the original content or the original hardware. It's crazy. Trails in Time, this is also one of the dollar games, which is ridiculous because this is such a hard, expensive game to damn find. But really, really good. I'm trying to get to focus again. Maybe, possibly. Yeah. A little beat up, but I've played it so many times since I got it. James Bond Jr., another copy of Donkey Kong Country, and Blazers, which I also, and if like NBA Blazers, which have that all over the place. I think I have like 3 copies of that too. NHL 95, Donkey Kong Country in the box with the manual. And we have Lagoon, which is a not very good adventure RPG. Got a sealed copy of Bowling for some reason. And we have, if I can get it out, we have Doom. And it was $30, which, hey, not bad for the original box and the cartridge and manual. If you ever played Doom as a kid, an absolute must-have. The last ones we have up here, which might not have enough lighting to see, looks like WWF, John Madden, Super Soccer, and Spider-Man. So none of those games I ever played as a kid. I probably got those in game lots and just decided to keep them. They're nice to throw in if you ever sell. If you're trying to get rid of a game, you throw a couple of games like that in there for free. It helps it sell faster. All right, we're at 40 minutes, man. I gotta speed it up. We have my Nintendo Switch here. Betrayal in Terra, my first PC game I ever played, I believe. And it came out, what, 95, 96? 1996. So I was 5 years old. And not good at all by today's standards, but very nostalgic for me. It's a RPG that it's first person when you walk around, like you're checking the outside. Kind of like down there, you'll see people and buildings and stuff, and it's like a point and click. And then when you enter battle, it's like third person. So, and it's turn-based and it's tactical too, so you move around on a grid like a Final Fantasy Tactics style game. Really good game for what it is. So we have Sega Dreamcast down here. We have Virtual Tennis, Resident Evil Code Veronica. So this is the original Code Veronica. Awesome game. It was going to be the original Resident Evil 3, and then they changed it. That's why the game is the way it is. The original Soul Calibur, which I have never played, sorry to say. Do have that, though. We have Dead or Alive 2, Skies of Arcadia. This one I actually splurged on a little bit because I've heard so many good things about it. The only complaint I would have about this game is just the aggro rate is ridiculous. It's random encounter, and it's like every 3 steps. So I think they re-released it on a different platform later, and they dropped the aggro rate. But other than that complaint, this game's incredible. Very good. Very good RPG. Evil Dead, I like the cover. I think it's like supposed to be based on like a horror comedy, but I've never played it. I plan on playing it eventually, though. And then we have some sports games, which I don't really care that much about. We have Advanced Wars on the DS. These are only my DS games that I really own. I don't really play handhelds that much, but every once in a while. Echoes of Time, Final Fantasy. I forgot that I even own this, but I don't remember anything about it, so I can't tell you how good it is. And since I can't remember it, I'm going to assume that it's not the greatest. Sorry. Final Fantasy 3, same deal. I got it with the DS. I think it used to come with it. It was like a release game for it, like one of the first ones. Whatever you want to call it, a launch title. And it's alright. I remember it to an extent. I mean, it's the same as 3, except it's better graphics. Some headphones here. The Simpsons DVDs. We have Half-Life. This was a garage sale buy. It was like $5. Awesome if you've ever played the original Half-Life and you want like a nice display piece. Really nice. We have Guild Wars, Star Wars Battlefront, Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is one that most people are familiar with. I paid about $5 or $10 for it. It says 20 on it, but that's an old sticker. And I'm trying to get into it. There's people in the Zen Garden Discord like Firefly, Slickster, all those guys who are really into Diablo 2. And I don't know where the hell to go when I start. I think that's the only issue I have, is it's one of those where the hell do I go games, and I just need to figure out where the hell to go. And once I do, I think I'll enjoy it a lot more. Half-Life 2, I think I need to actually have this one repaired. Picked it up for $10, and it says 54 there, but right there it says 10. I picked it up, and I think the disc over time got damaged, so it sat on my shelf forever. And I think it worked when I got it, and then when I tried to play it later, then it was so beaten up that I just didn't read. What we got here? Star Trek Online. So I guess Star Trek had an online game at one point. I think that came in a game lot, so that's why I don't really know that much about it. We'll put these back where they were. I'll rearrange these after the video's done, but I'm just trying to move stuff. Down here we just have replacement consoles. These are just extra in case one of my consoles go out. So we have a couple PS2s. We have GameCube, Wii, Xbox 360, original PS3, PS1. And we have a spare USB N64 controller. Last damn bookshelf. Okay. We have Kingdom Under Fire booklet. We have a Retron. Don't ever get these. Retrons are terrible. I understand that they are... Here, I'm going to get a drink of water while I rant here. I understand that these look appealing because you can play NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, 5 different original hardware games on this one, man-made, whatever you want to call it, crappily assembled system. The thing is, they work okay in the beginning, but certain things break super easy. They're super light. Like, this thing weighs next to nothing. The console weighs maybe a quarter of a pound. And the little plastic pieces break. Even if it does work, it gets really hot, and certain components and certain controllers just don't work right. It's just not good. You're better off just getting the original hardware. PS1 in the box, got it for free. That was actually a donation from a buddy of mine who moved to Tennessee recently, and he gave me that, and I'm forever grateful. Really good friend of mine. N64 in the box. I picked that up on eBay, honestly, I think. And I already own the console and some other stuff, like inserts for it, but I got the box online. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I bought that online. I bought this, actually, last week. Third grade Clue Finders. It's Clue Finders third grade edition. The only reason I bought this is I owned it as a kid. And the Clue Finders was the only series that was educational that I actually liked as a kid. It's the only reason I bought it, nostalgic reasons. Cleaning kit for Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. We have 2 Game Genies here for Super Nintendo and NES. They both do work, and I do cheat sometimes. So all the people that give me crap for being straight-laced, I do cheat on these games. I'm a dirty cheater. We have a plush Final Fantasy cactus here. We have some N64 loose cart games along with a little Yoshi car. We have Mission Impossible N64. I don't know why I don't have it in its box, because I have this boxed. Yeah, here it is. I have the box for it. I need to put it in it. But this game, it was actually reviewed by the Angry Video Game Nerd recently. I got this. This is probably the only unique story you're ever going to hear in the video and from any other retro gamer that you come across. I got this game because I was a little kid and I had issues learning how to swim. You heard that right. I had issues learning how to swim. So my mom got a swimming trainer for me and bribed me by saying if I learned how to swim, I could go to the store with her later, after I proved I could swim, and get a video game. And when I learned to swim that day once she told me that. Because I was having trouble with the instructor. And I learned that day once she told me that. And I went to the store after the lesson, and this is what I got. Mission Impossible 64. And it plays a lot better than what he said, in my opinion. I get what he means. Like, the controls are kind of stiff, and aiming is kind of a bitch. But once you get used to it, it plays like any other N64 game, honestly. So I'm probably one of the very few people that are going to tell you that's a damn good game and you should definitely play. And it's very cheap. In the box, it's probably not going to help my case any. In the box, when I rebought it with the cartridge box and manual, it was like $7. So yeah, it's probably widespread known as a crap game, but whatever. I say it's amazing. Quake 2, great game. Banjo-Tooie, I have played it, but I've never beaten it. I never got very far either. I'm going to play this soon, and I'm going to beat it. Because I love the original Banjo-Kazooie. Goemon's Great Adventure. I have both Goemon games, and this is probably the hardest game I own, and I've been trying to beat it for years. And every couple of years, I get a little bit farther, and I'm toward the end of the game finally, and I almost have it beat. I'm on the last couple of levels, and I'm going to get it beat. Super hard, and these games are also kind of expensive. But the Goemon games are very good if you can pick them up. Mystical Ninja and the one I just had, Goemon, whatever. Greatest Adventures. Banjo-Kazooie, very, very classic. Used to rent it from the video store. There's the other one, Mystical Ninja for Goemon. Turok, Rage Wars, Command & Conquer, which is just an army tactical game. Chameleon Twist, Quake, Glover. Glover's not that bad, but it's okay. Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, Yoshi's Story, Extreme G, which is like kind of like a weird blocky Mario Kart looking thing, but it's like boats and it's on land. And WCW versus the NWO. The only point I'll make on these is the Turok games are okay. I used to rent those too, and I can play them, and they're fun, but honestly, they're not my favorite. There's a lot more games in the N64 that are a lot better, in my opinion. But if you're a huge Turok fan, you can trash me if you like. GoldenEye, absolute classic, probably one of the best games of all time, and as well as the best game on that system. Super Mario 64. Why did I have all these backwards? Super Mario 64. I was actually playing this the other day with my brother. Really fun. Mario Kart 64. Another classic. Used to play it in the Walmart stores when it was on display for like a demo. Ah, there goes Sonic. Sonic plush toy thing here. We'll move that over here. Perfect Dark on the N64. I think that was one of the last games that came out. It was like a GoldenEye ripoff, but it played really good. It had its own storyline, and it's really good. It's very cheap too if you want to get a copy of it. NFL Blitz, classic, hanging with your buddies, drinking a couple of beers, trashing each other. That's a classic game, NFL Blitz. Forsaken 64. This is another game that's kind of like Mission Impossible, to where most people hate it, but I picked up this copy with the box, the manual, and the game for, again, around $8. And it's like you're in space. You have all these different spacecrafts. I'll look at the back here, see if I can explain it better. These different ships you can pick, and you pick all these different weapons as you beat other people in the same type of... I'm doing a terrible job. In the same type of vehicles, so you get these vehicle power-ups when you kill them, and you go super fast. So if you're someone who gets dizzy really easy, or if you have seizures, probably not the game for you. But it's super fast-paced and super crazy, and I love it. You like spin upside down, do all these barrel rolls and stuff, and it just messes with your eyes. So fun. Resident Evil 2 N64 edition, classic. I have every edition possible of RE2 besides the GameCube version. Love that game. Had to get it in the box. Got a little Yoshi motorcycle here. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. I have it like in mint condition too, and I've never played it. No idea how it works. No idea what the game is like. Don't know what the story is like. Don't know what the gameplay is like. Sorry. One day I'll get to it, but that's my honest review. Turok 2. I guess I have Turok 2 as well in the box, and I already talked about the Turok games, but nice to have that in the box too. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. This is one that is a very big classic for me. Used to get it from the video store near my parents' house, and I was never very good at it, but skateboarding was a big thing in the 90s, and I'm sure it's still big now, but it was so classic, and I played it with all my friends, and that's a childhood memory right there. Same with this one, Armyman's Sarge's Heroes. There's also a second one, which I don't own, but I will one day, and this is absolute classic. If it's exactly like you think it is. It's like a bunch of little army plastic men running around shooting each other, and it's got a crappy storyline and everything, but very good. Going down, we have I have to pull it out into the light here. We have Fallout New Vegas on PC. We have The Witcher, the very first one, the enhanced edition. I've never played it, don't know what it's like. Maybe one day. Borderlands on PC. We have Fallout 3, or is this Fallout 4? This is Fallout 4. On PC. Oh, I guess I own that. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah, I've never played that. Never going to. Star Wars fan favorites. I had some regular... Oh, crap. I had some random PC games down here, apparently. Okay, now we're going to get into NES. Dr. Mario in the box. These are all boxed NES games. So Dr. Mario, Techno Bowl, Super Mario 2, Bart vs. the Space Mutants. This is one I owned as a kid. Original Zelda, also owned this as a kid, and this is like the classic series, so like kind of like a Game of the Year edition version of it. And I picked that up about $30. One thing that's kind of nice with the Zelda games is if you want them in the box, they're plenty. There's a lot of them, and people tend to take care of the Zelda games for some reason. So getting them in the box is actually pretty cheap because there's just so many copies. Taboo on NES, never played it. Goal. The original Final Fantasy. Nice. Got a glare there. One of the first NES games I ever played. One of the first games I ever played. My brother owned it. And so good. Came out the year before I was born. If that makes you feel old, I'm sorry. Super Mario 3. Another classic. I played the Super Nintendo version first. But I later on in high school played the NES version. Bionic Commando. I know Gollum's a big fan of this and some other people. I've heard people in Zengarn talk about Bionic Commando quite a bit, actually, and I've played it, but I've never really deeply got into it. Star Tropics. This is another classic. Very, very cheap also if you can get your hands on one. This copy here with the box and everything was like $15. It's action RPG but your weapon instead of a sword's a yo-yo. And I know that sounds stupid, but you run around and fight different bosses, and you're trying to save your. I can't remember if it's your uncle or your dad. You're going around and trying to save him. Again, dumb story, great game. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, so Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles 2. Wheel of Fortune, Willow, which I think is like a classic movie. And supposedly the game's really good, but I've never played it, but I do own it. One day I will. Wizards and Warriors, the very first one. Skate or Die. I have played that a couple of times, really good game. The original, Ninja Turtles, the very first one. I played that at a buddy's house back in 1996, 1995, 1996, and after he played that game, or I played it with him, he owned it, but after I played it with him, I had to get it myself. This is a fake multi-cart, it has like 30 games in it, but it's got like Faxanadu, Ninja Gaiden, DuckTales, I think even like a weird version of Earthbound on it. But yeah, it's a multi-cart. We have whatever the hell this is. This is that game. We have a tri cartridge for Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt World Class Track Meet. Karnov. I'm trying not to get in the light here. Karnov, Rambo, Freedom Force, Baseball, The Goonies 2, Jeopardy, Bowling, Golf, Kung Fu, Zoda's Revenge, which is Star Tropics 2. Very good game. It was one of the last games released on the NES. I think it was released in 94 or 95 or yeah, 94 I think. Might need that fact checked. But maybe it was a little later or earlier than that. But the only sequel to Star Tropics, really good. They changed the controls on it a little bit and they made it a little bit smoother because Star Tropics is very stiff when you're playing. Rally Bike, Pro Wrestling, Classic, Bandai Golf, Magic Johnson's Fast Break, Blades of Steel, Sky Shark, Roller Games, Solar Jetman, Xenophobe. And that is just some NES games. We're going to get into more. I'm getting tired, man. I'm trying. Some Sega Genesis games down here. NBA Action, Sonic Knuckles, Bubbles and Squeak, Pac-Man, The New Adventures. Move these over to the side. We have on GameCube Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I picked this up online. $7 and some odd cents. That sounds about right. And some people are really into this game. I think it's just a repeating game. Like you play with your buddies and you just try to see how far you can get or how strong you can get. It's like a cycling. It's almost like an arcade game to me. But maybe I played it wrong. The original Resident Evil remake on the GameCube, this is what the original Resident Evil was supposed to be like. And then they finally got the technology to make it a reality. If you ever want to play a Resident Evil game and you've never played one, play this one first. Play this one first. Tales of Symphonia, very classic JRPG. I have beaten this, I believe. Pretty damn challenging too, but I'd give it like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's hard to explain, just want to look it up, but very good. Speaking of very good, we have The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. This was very, very cheap for a long time. And just recently I saw online that this game is like shot up dramatically in price. It's for the Nintendo GameCube. It has the NES Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. So if you want to play a bunch of Zelda games from your childhood and you don't want to buy a bunch of equipment or a bunch of different games, this is the one to go for. But unfortunately, it's not like $15 anymore. It's like $70, which is ridiculous. So I don't recommend paying that much. Twilight Princess, very good. I've only played it once, all the way to completion. I had beaten it. But I played it when it came out in 2006, it looks like. And I haven't played it since, so I don't remember much about it. But I do remember it being good. So Resident Evil 0, not my favorite Resident Evil game, but it's still good. And it has the same like engine as the original Resident Evil remake on that same system. So it's a fun game. I definitely recommend it, but it could be better. Some Wii games, the only ones I'm really going to point out here is Skyward Sword, Resident Evil Darkness Chronicles, Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles. And that's pretty much it for that. Sega Genesis, we have Quick Shot, Junction, Sonic 2, Caesar's Palace, Spider-Man, Mortal Kombat 3, all the Sonic games, Sonic 1, 2, and 3, NBA Jam, and Where's Waldo. My battery's starting to run low, so I gotta go quick. Whew, okay, ton of NES games. I'm just gonna rapid fire through them. I'm gonna try not to get in the light here. Faxanadu, Bomberman, Pirates, really good game if you've never played Pirates. It's you collect a bunch of booty, if you will, and you go through conquering other ships to be like the strongest, biggest pirate ship crew possible. Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, original Final Fantasy down there. I guess I need to put it back in its box. Snake Rattle and Roll, really good game. Dick Tracy, Hogan's Alley, Karate Champ, Rad Racer, World Cup, Nintendo World Cup, both Top Gun games. Kid Cool, Bart Simpson versus the Space or versus the World, Stealth, Demon Sword, Hide Light, Super V-Ball, Shadowgate, Deadly Towers, Racket Attack, Fester's Quest, Blaster Master, Predator, Wrath of the Black Manta, Ice Hockey, Crystallis, Ultima, Lunar Pool, Anticipation, Mac Rider, Kid Nicky, what is that? Rash Warrior, Robo Warrior, Captain Skyhawk, Bad Dudes, the original Dragon Warrior. I owned that as a kid. That was the second game I played after Final Fantasy. Really good if you love grinding, you'll love the original Dragon Warrior. Both Contra games, the other Top Gun game, Terminator and Super Pitfall, Dirty Harry, Rocket Roger, Football, Tetris, Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, and Super Glove Ball, and a copy of Half-Life here. The only game in the box I have for Game Boy is Game Boy Advance Golden Sun, which is a classic game I used to play on the school bus. Down here we have a bunch of PC games. The only ones I'm really going to point out is... Man, none of these look good. But there's the Final Fantasy XI Vanadil expansion. There's Skyrim. There is Counter-Strike. StarCraft 2. A bunch of Sims games. All that in the back right corner is all Sims games. Batman, Chess Master, a ton of different games. And then lastly, we'll go up here to the fireplace. This is just a chest full of random shit. Xbox One, Nintendo Switch box, a big giant keyboard. Zelda Ocarina of Time in the box, Majora's Mask in the box. I bought both of these at the same time online. Both of them combined was $80, and they're both still not that expensive. If you want to get a copy of yourself, I highly recommend it. Conker's Bad Fur Day. I didn't play this until I was in college. I didn't even hear about it until I was in college. It came out after at the very end of the N64's life. So I never really heard about it, and I played like the Xbox edition of it, which is cheaper and has a little bit better graphics. But it just isn't as good because there's like a lot of censorship and whatnot. But yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day. I know it's expensive, but a great game. You should definitely get it if you can. Chrono Trigger. I bought this for $100 at a store back in 2011. And it is, I think it's missing the manual, but the game and the box are here. And I looked online. This game's like $300 now, $350. Crazy. Not worth that much at all. And then we have Final Fantasy 3, my favorite game of all time, retro-wise, and Final Fantasy 6, if you will. And again, I bought this for maybe $65, and it's asking for like $200 now. And this is with like the manual and the box. That's crazy. Not worth that much. But those are my top two favorite like classic Super Nintendo games. And then we have the original boxed Sega Dreamcast. Don't have a lot of games for it like you saw, but I had to get it in the box just because it came with the bundle. I bought the box, all those games that you saw besides like 2 or 3 of them for $100. So I picked that up. I have no idea what they're worth now, but I really enjoy it. So we're at 1 hour and 3 minutes. My battery is about dead. Thank you so much for watching that. If you watched the whole thing till the end, man, you've got some patience. So thank you so much. I plan on expanding the man cave some more and adding more shelves eventually. But right now I'm going to relax a little bit. Hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for all that you do. We have over 210 people in our Discord now, and I passed 250 followers about a week or 2 ago. I think the last time I checked before I left for that fishing trip, I'm back at like 265, which is great. I'm going to try to start the goal for 500 followers, and then if I can somehow make it to there, I may as well try to gun for the 1,000, but I'm going to take it one step at a time. I need to get better at streaming. I'm sure if I streamed every day, I would have been there by now, but you know how real life is. I'm having fun. Thank you so much for all the support you guys have given me. Until the next one, so long, take care, and thanks for watching.